Hi everyone and welcome to Club 3, Episode 13 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM20 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So we've been playing for in this second season with Derby. We took over halfway through last season and it's gone pretty well. For that first chunk of the season it was amazing. We came up a little bit short against Southampton. Then we, in the last episode, lost to Everton in the League Cup, which I kind of expected us to do, but we did okay. We looked reasonable. And then it's been a mixed bag since then, really. We lost again to Huddersfield quite badly, but we've picked up a couple of wins against Cardiff and Middlesbrough, and I've drawn matches against Watford and Reading. So it has been a bit mixed. What I would say about today's game, though, we're playing Swansea. We currently sit, I think, in fourth. We'll have a look at the table in a second. Swansea are right down in the relegation zone. So in theory, you would suggest it's a decent time for us to play them and get some points against them, potentially. And it might well be. But just for any of you guys out there that are slightly superstitious, I can't say I am particularly, but if you are, we are recording episode 13 of this current club on Friday the 13th. So Swansea are going to absolutely destroy us, aren't they? Because that's the way it works. So competition-wise, as I say, we're sitting up in fourth, looking decent. We're only a couple of points away from the leaders at the moment, so we're still really in with a shout of doing something pretty good this season if we can find a run of form again. And as I say, down in 22nd place are Swansea City. So you can see that they're struggling a little bit this season and we're doing okay. So the only thing I want to talk to you about just before we go into this game is that if you remember, we had Wayne Rooney as part of our staff last season, and it was costing us an absolute fortune through wages. He has actually now left the club. He's gone to manage in the lower leagues, which is fine. So that's come off the wage structure. We have brought a couple of other coaches in. No, not many that you'd know necessarily, but one that we did, we managed to get Phil Neville in as one of the under 18s assistant manager, I think he is. So we are looking after the club right the way from top to bottom. We're not just focused on the main first team, as it were. I am trying to structure this club well and see if we can gain some youngsters through the youth setup as we go, because we're going to be here for a few seasons at least, especially if we get promoted into the Premier League. That's going to give us a real chance to try and move this club forward again. So yeah, we are looking after this club all the way from top to bottom. We're not just trying to get first team results. Just thought I'd let you know that. But anyway, today is Swansea, so let's go and check out the squad as it currently is. The part of the issue as to why we've been so inconsistent is that we've had a lot of injuries in this period in the last month. You can see that Clark is just recovering from one. He's still got a couple of days, but he's as good as we've got in terms of putting him on the bench for today as a striking option. Ida, the other striker that's been playing a lot more games, hasn't been fit for a little while either. So today it's Tyler Walker in that particular spot. But you can see Sibley's out. McNair is a long-term injury. Bellis is out and he's going to be out for a few weeks, which is so disappointing because he's really important to that central defence. But also at the same time, our goalkeeper has been out for the last couple of games as well, Bazunu. So we've had a really disrupted team. We've had to reshape this quite a lot. You can see that pretty much everybody is playing fairly regularly. And so it's been quite challenging to get a settled side. But anyway, we just do the best that we can. So today's team is going to be Decker in goal, Colin at right back, Target at left back, Story and Burns in central defence, with Joku, Roberto and Crowley in central midfield, with McCowan on the right and Loku Doku on the left and Walker up top, with a bench of Berkeley, Cooper, May, Stretton, Murphy, Murray and Clark. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So I've gone bold and passionately suggest that I expect a win today. Form suggests that we are in a higher position than them. We're away from home, that's fair enough, but we should be doing something to be competitive in this game. So let's see if they can pull it off. And it's Crowley on a good run from the halfway line right into the penalty box, but a little bit weak on the finish. It's still that Crowley-Sibley decision in that attacking midfield role that I haven't quite found the best way to play either of them yet. And I think one or other of them might get replaced in the short to medium term, because it's the one position in this side that I don't think I'm quite getting the best out of. But anyway, Loku Doku down the left-hand side, nicks it off a defender and runs right the way through to the penalty box. Now, he's been a real problem in the sense that ever since he's come to the club in the summer, he's hardly been fit. He's been in and out through little knocks pretty much constantly. He's only played a couple of games for us, which has been very disappointing because I hoped he would come in and really make a difference. Because if you remember, he took over that position from a real star of our show last season when we lost him. So, yeah, it's been very disappointing. But hopefully, finally, we might have him fit enough to go on a bit of a run of games and see if he can impact this side moving forward. Fortunately, his understudy on that left-hand side has been doing pretty well, to be honest, a decent youngster. But Swansea have worked the ball very nicely down that right-hand side, and a good cross to that far post, and a half volley, I think it was, and they go one up, and it's disappointing. I thought we were doing quite well. I mean, this particular phase of play, they had a lot of passing move, which is good, but I thought our shape was decent, and I thought we were still in reasonable control, but apparently not. And they've managed to go from one side to the other and avoid those fullback positions and get a decent attempt, and they made us pay for it, which is very disappointing. And this 13th of the 13th, it's gonna bite us. I know it is. I can feel it. So we're coming up to half-time. We're going to let it go through to half-time. Then we're going to lay the law down on them a little bit unless something comes from this. And then in the second half, we're going to be, trying to push them to do something a lot better than what they have done so far. Again, it's Lokodoku on this left-hand side. Cuts in, though. Has a half-decent effort, sort of. But it's a little bit wayward. And I never really felt like it was going to challenge the goalkeeper. And that sends us into half-time. And you can see from the match stats, it's been competitive in the sense that we've had some attempts ourselves. But that possession stat is not particularly great, and I think that's where they're doing us in. So we're going to go in and we're going to assertively say, show me something different, but then we're going to build them passionately to say, I have faith in you, and just see if that gets an improved performance out of them in the second half, because we desperately need it. And the minute we come out of here, we're going to go into a shout and say, get creative, and just see if we can find a way to unlock this Swansea defence. Let's hope for better in this second half. Again, it's a throw-in for us this time down our left-hand side. McCowan has come over to help that process out. Oh no, it's on the right-hand side. I thought we were going the other way. I'm so confused today. It's bizarre. Lee Kang-in, that's another one that's going to come back to bite us, isn't it? We had him on loan last season, if you remember, and he didn't really do too much for us, but he's playing for Swansea today, and it looks like at the moment they've definitely now got the upper hand. Oh, boys and girls, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? The wheels have come off slightly, haven't they? So we're going to pause the game there, and I'm going to go into the tactics and change a few things. So I brought Crowley off and changed the formation, put Clark up top, pushed McCowan further up on that right-hand side, changed the formation slightly into this attacking 4-4-2, sorry. And let's just see if we can get something from that, because so far we are looking a little bit shaky today, and that's what it's been like over the last few games. It's just that the early euphoria of the way that we played in the early games, it's just dampened slightly, and it's a little bit of a concern that if we don't address it somehow and find a way to get some form of victory in the next game or so. Whoa, that was a shot and a half from Walker. But as I was saying, if we don't get a result soon, then it's just going to dampen us slightly, and we're going to have to find a way to get it back again. This was a really good move, though. Colin, right over the top, really early ball. Walker finds a way to win that ball and then powers that shot home. And we are just going to give ourselves a little bit of a chance for the last few minutes of the game. So we're going to stop the game again and come in and have a look and see what we can do in terms of personnel. Roberto not having a good game, so May comes on for him. And McCowan down that right-hand side. And we're going to put Murphy out there. It's not his... Oh, yes, it is Murphy that plays out there, not Murray. See, I'm still learning some of these players in this particular team as well. So, yeah. Anyway... Murphy comes in on that right hand side, and I feel so like I haven't got a complete grasp on what's going on today, but there we go, that happens. It's just one of those days. But we are hopefully going to get one last chance, and it looks like we might get another opportunity just to see if we can get something out of this game. But that's a bit of a wayward ball. It comes back at us. We partially win it again, but they pick up the loose ball in midfield, and they're going to come back at us now, unfortunately, down that left-hand side. And they've got it right the way to the side, and we dive in. Colin, a bit lucky then, comes away with the ball, but then wastes the possession a little bit, and they come back at us again. Good block there. Good defensive block. We're doing pretty well still on trying to maintain that discipline in defence, but they work it very nicely. Was there an offside there? I suspect there probably wasn't, which is very disappointing, but for a moment I thought there might have been. And it looks like, as the commentary has been saying, they're going to be cruising to victory now. It's 3-1 with a couple of minutes left, and there's not an awful lot else I can do. I've changed the formation already. I've changed the style of play already, and it's not worked out at all. So I think all we're going to be able to do at this point in this game is use this as motivation to move us forward into something better. And we'll use the team talk at the end of it to do that. And there you go. Friday the 13th episode, and the scoreline is 1-3 in their favour. If these are not omens, folks, I don't know what is. And I don't even believe in that sort of stuff. But there we go. Team talk. We're going to aggressively say I'm far from pleased and try and fire them up for the games to come, because it wasn't good enough today. We had the positional advantage over them in the league, enough to suggest that we should have been able to get something from that game, and we haven't. We've absolutely faded away. But again, it speaks volumes that this team is decent. But the minute you take Bellis out of it, and Sibley and Ida and Clark and the likes, you start to struggle an awful lot. And that's just what's happened to us at the moment. We've got to find a way to get everybody back fit and healthy again, and see if we can put out our first team 11 for a while, and see if we can find a way to get a couple more decent performances than we have recently. It's chalk and cheese, isn't it, to that first section, to the last section. It's just become very, very bitty. So hopefully we'll be able to sort that out in the next few games. Let's see what we've got coming up. And the first thing that you see is the televised match coming up against Forest again. We're always going to chuck these games in because it's the big rivalry for Derby. So we're going to come back and play that game in the next episode. So I've got a few games in between time just to see if we can find some momentum leading into that game, because we're going to need it when it comes to a Derby match like that. Form and all that luck goes out the window, and it's just about passion and desire and who wants it more. So we've got to find a way to be in the right frame of mind for it. So yeah, that will come up for the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I can't say I did in the slightest. I thought it was a dreadful performance, really, but indicative a little bit of where we've been over the last couple of games. It's just dampened the enthusiasm for where we might take this side this season a little bit. But let's see if we can get everybody fit and healthy, and then we'll reassess again. But that'll do it for today. Thanks very much for joining me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Click that like button if you haven't. It really helps me get seen by lots of other people, so it's so important. But until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.